I've received quite a number of them. Just feel appreciated and welcome. We have the National Sustainability Standards Board Member for Africa, Dr. Dindi Noli, who is joining us online, and I know she's already there. The Pan-African Federation of Accountants, who are here, represented by CPA Ruben Ruaru. We want to recognize the chairman of the Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Kenya, CPA Philip Kakai, the vice chairman of the Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Kenya, CPA Professor Elizabeth Kalunda, the council members present. We have quite a number of them here with us here, and we have those who are joining us virtually. The Sustainability Subcommittee convener, CPA John Awala, and all the committee members who have done a lot of heavy lifting, even for us to be here where we are today. The Professional Standards Committee, the convener, FCPA Michael Mugasa, the co-convener, CPA Matthew Mukisu, and all the members who are here with us. Welcome. All the private sector institutions, all the sectors, including our friends from ACCA. We also have our partners from FSD Kenya, who have really worked with us closely. Allow me to recognize all of you. I may not mention all the institutions, but feel welcome, all our members, all those who have joined us here. FCPA, CPAs, distinguished participants, our ISPAC Secretariat, who have also really worked very closely with this committee in supporting them. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Good morning once again. Yeah, welcome once again to this launch of the Sustainability Roadmap of Kenya. It gives me immense pleasure for us to really reach this level. It is actually almost a dream come true. When we started and announced our adoption of the sustainability standards, soon after they were released, sometime mid last year, we didn't know that within about 1.5 years we'll be here, already launching the roadmap of the adoption of these standards in Kenya, that is IFRS S1 and S2. So as we launch the roadmap for the adoption of these sustainability standards in Kenya, the event marks a great milestone in Kenya's journey towards achieving a more sustainable, transparent, and accountable future. As the Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Kenya, we are proud to be part of this transformative process, which will significantly enhance our nation's financial reporting ecosystem and strengthen our commitment to sustainable development. Ladies and gentlemen, as we gather here today, at a time such as this, when the global landscape has changed dramatically over the past few years, sustainability becomes central to the business strategy and financial reporting in Kenya and also globally. We are witnessing a growing demand from investors, regulators, and other stakeholders for businesses to go beyond financial performance and disclose information about the environmental and social practices that they are adopting. This demand reflects a broader understanding of the long-term value creation as tied to companies' ability to navigate the challenges of climate change, social and environmental issues. Sustainability is no longer a buzzword. It has become a necessity for business, investors, and governments. As we all know, the global economy is undergoing profound transformation, driven by technology, innovation, and increasing awareness of the need to address environmental and climate and social challenges. From climate change to social inequality, the world faces complex issues that demand coordinated and transparent action from all sectors of society. The IFRS Sustainability Standard, a globally consistent and compatible framework for businesses to report on their social and environmental performances. These standards will allow investors, regulators, and stakeholders to make better informed decisions based on reliable and transparent sustainability information that this report will contain. As we adopt these standards, we align ourselves with the global best practices that will enhance the credibility of Kenya businesses, increasing investor confidence, and supporting the growth of a more sustainable economy. And in this, it is also going to unlock the capital for businesses for Kenya. So before I continue with my remarks, is just to recognize the formation of the committee that was to oversee and spearhead, the subcommittee that was to oversee and spearhead this development of the roadmap, which was from a multi-stakeholder point of view, and we had a representation from all sectors of the economy in forming this committee, who have really worked hard even to bring this roadmap to where we are today, where we are talking about launching. So before I progress, allow me to invite the co-convener of the Professional Standards Committee that anchors this subcommittee on development of the sustainability roadmap for Kenya, CPA Matthew Mukisu, on behalf of FCPA Michael Mugasa, who is the convener, to make a few comments about the formation of this committee and also how far we have come as a committee. Let's give him a round of applause.
Yeah, thanks, CEO. Allow me to ride on the protocols already observed through our chair, Kakai. All protocols observed. Just to give some highlight on the role of the Professional Standards Committee, which is convened by FCPA Mugasa and, of course, co-convened myself. It has the following responsibilities. These are full committee of the council, and its responsibility is to provide an enabling environment for members to discuss exposure draft as issued by the International Accounting Standards Board and the International Federation of Accountants. And also, the committee provides guidance in interpretation and application of these new standards, and of course, even the existing standards as they continue being applied. We do this by releasing the technical releases developed by the committee through seminars and workshops. The committee also promotes high standards in accounting profession in Kenya by developing mechanisms through which the institute can set and enforce standards of professional practice in accounting, auditing, ethics, and specialty disciplines. The committee also promotes good financial reporting for all entities, of course, in liaison with the standing committees. We also promote the accountancy profession by offering advice and assistance to the institute members on accounting, auditing, and any other matters impacting day-to-day work. The committee also promotes adoption of international auditing standards as pronounced by recognized international standard setters. And also, regionally, you see, we also work with PAFA to ensure that as a region we move together in matters accounting and, of course, auditing. And then every starting of the year in January, we provide proposals to the Secretariat of the Institute to be included as part of the budgetary submissions by the budgetary submissions to the National Treasury. Then to carry, of course, any other assignments assigned by the Council, we also do that. Now, you can see this is quite broad. And we saw it fit that on this item of sustainability reporting, it's quite specialized. And of course, we need to do a lot of stakeholder engagement. And so a subcommittee was formed, the steering committee for sustainability, to handle this particular assignment. Our work was more on providing guidance and also reviewing its work. and we also helped in terms of developing the roadmap that is being launched today. Now, quick on the membership. I've mentioned that this particular Professional Standards Committee is convened by FCPA Michael Mugasa, co-convened by myself, CPA Matthew Mukisu. The other members, some of them are present, others are attending online, while others have other engagements, but I just mention quickly. We have FCPA Chaudhry Mohammed Asif. Please, yeah, you can lift your hand. We have FCPA Dr. Geoffrey Njeni, did I see him around? We have CPA Pauline Dusweti Naliaka. There she is. We have FCPA Simon Fisher. We also have FCPA Joseph Irungu Kariuki, CPA Georgina Muchai. Thank you, Georgina. CPA Sylvester Ngei Kiini. My classmate also, CPA Mbai Alexander Macau. FCPA Professor Winnie Nyamute, CPA Dominic Maina, CPA Nicholas Kithiari, CPA Joseph Nguju, CPA Nahashon Mathenge Kibui. Of course, that's the membership of 15. You can see it's quite heavy. Of course, as we launch this roadmap, you find that we are also looking at capacity gaps. Maybe SMEs may struggle from the start. There are also financial requirements for this, but please engage us, engage the Institute. We will ensure that we look out for whatever you want to discuss. We connect you to the necessary resources so that we start adapting. So early engagement is important in this case. So please leverage on the support ISPAC is giving and let us collaborate to make this a success. Now, as I finish, I think early in the year, or is it around May, there was a visit by the ISSB president, and we did pay a visit with him, with his delegation, of course, with the council and through the chair, to His Excellency, the President William Ruto. And he called upon accountants to help him implement these standards because he recognizes that there is always what we call first movers advantage. Those who are keen in the news yesterday, you saw that the less industrialized countries, they were demanding for a USD 1.3 trillion compensation because of issues that are coming out of climate change and sustainability. But the more industrial nations were pushing back on this. So let's be keen on this because we are the ones who say what the numbers are. If we undervalue, then the market will not function. And at this point, please allow me to call upon the Professional Standard Committee members who are physically present here to come on stage just for a minute, then we will be finished. Please, quickly. Asif, Georgina. Well, I also want to recognize that CPA Catherine Asemate, who is a director in ISPAC, she's been very instrumental in terms of providing secretarial support to this committee and also linking the Professional Standards Committee to the steering committee that has done this roadmap. Thank you, CPA Catherine.
Good morning. My name is Pauline Lusweti, PSC member. Thank you.
Morning, Dr. CPA Alexander Mbai.
Good morning, CPA Catherine Asemate, ISPAC Director. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. CPA Georgina Muchai, PSC member.
So let's move this side.
Good morning, everyone. FCPA Asif Chaudhry, member PSC.
Yes, on behalf of the right. No, I don't need.
Thank you.
So back to you, CEO.
I feel like the Professional Standards Committee deserves a better round of applause. Thank you so much, the committee members, for doing what you needed to do to provide guidance to the steering committee on the sustainability. And we are going to learn now more on the subcommittee that has really been doing a lot of the heavy lifting, led by the chairmanship of CPA John Awala from National Treasury and also sitting in ISPAC Council. So as a professional body representing the accountants, the auditors, the financial professionals in Kenya, ISPAC recognizes our crucial role in this transformation. We are committed to fostering an environment where our members have the knowledge, the tools, and support to help businesses integrate sustainability considerations into their financial reporting frameworks. This is why the launch of the roadmap for the adoption of the Ifrs sustainability standards is such a significant event for us. It reflects our collective responsibility to ensure that Kenya is not only keeping pace with global trends, but also leading the way in the adoption of internationally recognized standards for sustainability. As professionals, we understand that adopting new standards can be challenging. It requires the commitment of businesses, the regulators, and stakeholders across sectors to ensure smooth implementation. The roadmap we are launching today guides this transition, outlining the key steps, timelines, and resources needed to integrate the Ifrs sustainability standards to our corporate reporting landscape. And later in our discussion today, you'll be able to see how each of the sectors of our economy and the timelines that we are going to adopt the standard. This is not just a technical shift in reporting, but a cultural one that will help embed sustainability as a core component of business strategy in Kenya. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the Ifrs Foundation, the Institute's members, the government agencies, regulatory bodies, and our development partners for their ongoing support in shaping this roadmap. Your collaboration, input, and shared vision have been vital to the success of this initiative. Together, we can ensure that the adoption of these standards is both practical and impactful in promoting sustainability economic development in Kenya. I would like to commend the businesses and public sector entities that have initiated the integration of sustainability into their operations and reporting practices. We had those even way before the release of the standards had already integrated this in their reporting, and we have quite a number of institutions in Kenya which we applaud today. Your leadership and foresight serve as a model for others to emulate. We eagerly anticipate the development in this adoption process over the coming years. As we launch the roadmap today, we are laying the foundation for a future where Kenya businesses thrive in aligning with sustainability principles, enhancing their resilience, and contributing to sustainable economy. These standards we adopt will benefit individual organizations and positively impact our communities and environment. As I conclude, the path forward will necessitate a strong commitment, dedication, collaboration, and an unfilled approach to transparency and accountability. The Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Kenya remains resolute in its mission to support our members and all stakeholders to effectively navigate this transformative process. As I pen off, allow me to leave you with the words of with a quote from Robert Swan, who said that the greatest threat to our planet today is the belief that someone else will save it. And we are here today to say that we are that someone else. We will not wait for the tragedy, but we will be that someone else who will be able to save the economy, save the planet by taking up various steps that, as you will see, as we adopt the sustainability standards. Thank you once again for joining us today, and I look forward to this critical launch, exciting discussions, collaborations, and initiatives. So, So it is now my singular pleasure to invite the chairman of the Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Kenya, CPA Philip Kakai, to make his comments. Let's give the chairman a round of applause.
Good morning. Good morning. The room seems to be a bit gloomy. Hamjambo. Mmekunywa chai? So asanteni sana. I had to break a little bit of the ice. Mko salama, Julians, karibu. You know, we normally forget the MCs whenever we go through the protocols. We go through everything, but we forget the very important people. So thank you very much. I'm so excited to be here today, having come from a function of the same nature in Mombasa yesterday, but in the banking sector. Cooperative Bank really also interested in this. And as an institute, I think we have no option. With our other regulators, we have no option other than to move on this. Me and the CEO, we represented the Institute in the last meeting last week in Paris, the International Federation of Accountants, and this was the key subject. It is the in thing for the Institute, the Pan-African Federation of Accountants. It's a big thing. We took, I think, 6 hours just to talk about this particular subject. And it is both in the public sector. We had the chair of the board of ISSB, Ian Jonah, and we had representation from the International Sustainability Board also. And it was a big subject. So we are not only doing it for Kenya, but we are also happy Kenya was mentioned as an early adopter of this particular, these two standards. So we, we have to push and push. Do we have FCPA Winnie, professor here? Our representative on the IFAC board? Yes, she also did quite some work there. So, we have Ndindi Nyoro, not Ndindi Nyoro, Ndindi Noli. Yes, I did it purposely because people are so gloomy, so I needed to get that. Who also represented Africa on this particular matter. So the International Sustainability Standards Board, of course, chaired by Emmanuel Feber and represented by, in Africa by Noli, Dr. Noli, our vice chair, Professor Elizabeth Kalunda, council members present here physically and online. I think online we have CPA Bichanga, FCPA Professor Elizabeth, not Elizabeth, we have professor, you know, we have two professors in council, Professor Leting And the rest of the council members, you'll be seeing them here. John Awala, we have Olive, CPA Gitau, we have FCPA Georgina here, and Matthew, who already took his photo with the team. I was wondering why I would not have been allowed to get to join. We made a deliberate decision as a council to approve these processes to continue, and went further to approve the steering committee, which is managed and run by John Awala. So it is something council has really made a decision to run with. Of course, I want to recognize our former chair, FCPA Rose Mwaura, who is in the house, FCPA husband, council member, and many of us. The CEO has just left the stage. John Awala, who is convening this particular committee, Professional Standards Committee, which has been convened for many years by FCPA Mugasa Michael. He's been represented by Matthew, FCPA's members of the Institute, distinguished delegates, participants, fellow regulators, the Secretariat staff, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'm honored to stand before you today as we reach an important milestone in Kenya's journey towards enhanced corporate transparency, accountability, and sustainability. Today, we come together to launch the roadmap for the adoption of the IFRS Sustainability Disclosure Standards. This is a vital step forward in aligning our financial reporting with global best practices and ensuring that our nation, Kenya, that is, contributes meaningfully to a more sustainable future. We would like to take this opportunity to extend our sincere appreciation to all our esteemed guests who have graciously taken time to join us this morning. Your presence is invaluable as we embark on the next steps of our sustainability journey. I'm also honored to express our sincere gratitude to our representative in ISSB board, Dr. Noli, a board member of the International Sustainability Standards Board, for her remarkable involvement and support to ISPAC from the launch of IFRS S1 and S2 in September 2023 all the way to now. She's been really supporting the Institute. Let us also take this opportunity to thank all our partners, stakeholders, and contributors who have worked tirelessly behind the scenes to bring this vision to life. Your dedication and collaborative spirit have made this moment possible, from Sustainability and Climate Change Committee to regulators, preparers, and users, including fellow regulators from other industries, noting that the question of sustainability and climate change is not a preserve of accountants only, but it's across board. Ladies and gentlemen, sustainability has transitioned from a peripheral concern to a central element in the strategic framework of contemporary business. It is essential for the future success and resilience of economies, enterprises, and communities alike. Expectations for businesses now encompasses not only the delivery of financial returns, but also the active contribution to societal and environmental objectives. The importance of environmental responsibility, social impact, and corporate governance is more pronounced than ever before. Kenya is on the verge of a new era in corporate governance and financial reporting. The adoption of the International Financial Reporting Standards Sustainability Disclosure Standards will help formalize sustainability disclosures, ensuring that companies provide relevant, reliable, and comparable data on the environmental, social, and governance issues, including crucial, the information which is very crucial for our investors, consumers, and the communities in which we operate. On the 26th June 2023, ISSB released its first 2 international sustainability disclosure standards, IFRS SDS, or the standards, which became effective for periods beginning on or after 1st January 2024. As earlier mentioned, the inaugural event of adopting IFRS S1 and S2 standards was in Kenya on 5th September 2023. The adoption offered a unique opportunity to hear about key developments at the IFRS Foundation, highlighting the work of International Accounting Standards Board and the International Sustainability Standards Board. Since the issuance of IFRS S1 and S2, ISSB has commenced the work and engaged jurisdictions and companies to support adoption. Locally, the Institute of Certified Public Accountants has collaborated with other industry players, regulators, development partners, stakeholders to ensure complete preparation for compliance with the new standards. To provide guidance and support in implementing and complying with the new standards, the Institute established a multi-stakeholder sustainability and climate change reporting committee that worked with the Professional Standards Committee and all technical and sector-specific subcommittees to develop a roadmap for adopting the IFRS Sustainability Disclosure Standards in Kenya. It is our honor to host the launch of the roadmap for adopting IFRS Sustainability Disclosure Standards here in Kenya, and to address this morning the events that will now take place after this. This event symbolizes the vibrancy of our profession worldwide. Your commitment to engaging in these important discussions, members who are here and in the country, will greatly influence our nation's future, and we are very appreciative of that. Our profession currently boasts of over 2.1 million members worldwide, with nearly 160 accounting bodies across 120 countries. We continue to grow and prosper alongside our economies, and we are pleased to see Kenya contributing to this progress. Ladies and gentlemen, the aim is to encourage everyone to embrace the new standards on sustainability so that we can shift our focus to environmentally focused reporting, which is in the essence of our being here today. The importance of IFRS sustainability standards cannot be overemphasized. The IFRS Sustainability Disclosure Standards set the benchmark of how companies should report their sustainability efforts. These standards aim to move beyond a superficial ticking box approach to reporting and promote a more integrated, meaningful, and transparent communication of sustainability performance. We must acknowledge that businesses in Kenya have already taken many commendable steps towards sustainability. Still, there is an increasing need for a unified, and this one I'll repeat it, a unified approach to measuring, reporting, and verifying sustainability data, both at government level and at the private sector level. The IFRS sustainability standards will provide the framework to do this in consistent with the global recognized way of doing things. By launching the roadmap to implementation of these standards, we are acting to, 1, enhance corporate accountability, 2, promote sustainable development, which is in line with the Kenya's vision on climate change issues. Ladies and gentlemen, Kenya is committed to fostering sustainable and resilient economy. Our Vision 2030 recognizes the importance of environmental sustainability and inclusive growth, and today's launch is a vital step in ensuring that the corporate sector plays an active role in this particular agenda. The government led by His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, William Ruto, initiated the planting of 15 billion trees by 2032, a move aimed at reducing greenhouse emissions, stopping and reversing deforestation, and restoring 5.1 million hectares of deforested and degraded landscapes through the African Landscape Restoration Initiative, which was launched on 22nd December 2022. To say the least, this roadmap launch is not just about compliance with the international standards. It is about aligning our business practices with global sustainability goals and contributing to the shared prosperity of our region and the world. We are also mindful of challenges of adopting new standards. However, we are confident that through collaboration, capacity building, and a clear implementation strategy, Kenyan businesses will not only meet the requirements of these standards, but will also leverage them as opportunities for growth, innovation, and leadership in the sustainability space. Let me make a few comments on the objective of the roadmap. By implementing the IFRS sustainability disclosure standards, Kenya aims to achieve several objectives, and one of them is enhancing investor confidence, 2, enhancing transparency and accountability, 3, aligning Kenya's sustainability reporting with global best practices, and 4, promoting sustainable economic growth that requires businesses to integrate sustainability into their core businesses. But last but not least, supporting regulatory and policy development by providing a robust framework for developing and enforcing sustainability-related regulations. What is the role of stakeholders in this? Ladies and gentlemen, as we embark on this important journey, it is essential that all stakeholders, regulators, businesses, financial institutions, and civil society work together to ensure a smooth and effective transition. The roadmap we are launching today results from extensive consultations with key stakeholders, including regulators, industry leaders, international partners, and sustainability experts from the following representations. 1, the National Treasury, the Central Bank of Kenya, the Capital Markets Authority, the Nairobi Securities Exchange, AFSD Kenya, audit firm partners, Insurance Regulatory Authority, IRA, SASRA, Kenya Association of Manufacturers, insurance representatives, listed entity representatives like Safaricom, the East Africa Breweries, and of course, ISPAC. We are dedicated to providing continuous support to businesses, offering training programs, technical assistance, and essential resources to ensure implementing these standards is viable and beneficial for all. Looking ahead, as we look ahead, the launch of this roadmap is just a beginning. It is important to note that it is a call to action for all of us to play our part in making sustainability a central pillar for corporate governance in Kenya. The roadmap provides a strategic guidance for stakeholders in both public and private sectors. It details the necessary steps and, more importantly, the timelines and, where possible, the resources for successfully implementing these standards, thereby strengthening the country's commitment to sustainable development and financial integrity. The roadmap is designed to tackle the specific challenges and opportunities present in the Kenyan context. It also offers a comprehensive analysis of the current state of the sustainability reporting, identifies key stakeholders, and outlines a phased approach for implementation. This approach includes engaging stakeholders, aligning with regulations, building capacity, and developing supporting structures. The Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Kenya requires the adoption of the IFRS Sustainability Disclosure Standards in a phased approach to ensure smooth transition for organizations of all sizes. This approach will allow organizations to build capacity, gather necessary data, and align the internal processes with the new standards. Allow me to make a few comments on the phased approach. One is phase one, voluntary adoption. This phase is for accounting period beginning on or after 1st January 2024 and ending on or before 31st December 2026. This period, reporting organizations must build capacity and prepare for mandatory adoption. Any organization wishing to report during this period shall undergo readiness assessment. Phase two is mandatory adoption. This mandatory phase is categorized into two as follows. One, all public interest entities. Implementation for the accounting period beginning on or after 1st January 2027. Number two is all non-public entity interests. Large enterprises, implementation for the accounting period on or after 1st January 2028. Then SMEs, implementation is for the accounting period on or after 1st January 2029. The readiness assessment is compulsory for all organizations reporting in these phases and must be carried out before an organization publishes its first sustainability report per the new standard. Of course, you've seen quite a number of reporting entities trying to do a report on sustainability, but we are talking about as per the new standard, IFRS S1 and S2. And phase three, government and government organizations. A review will be conducted when the sustainability reporting standards for public sector organizations currently being developed by the International Public Sector Accounting Standards Board become available. And with the guidance of ISPAC, this shall become another frontier. For those who have been following the ISSB, they have issued some disclosure drafts on sustainability in the public sector. My colleague CP John Awala sits on the board of ISSB, and they are moving in the same direction like the IFRS S1 and S2. Of course, it will have a different name. We are expected to give our views on the exposure drafts. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, as we move forward, we will continue refining and improving the standards, ensuring they remain relevant, aligned with global developments in sustainability reporting. I'm confident that with the commitment and collaboration of everyone in this room and beyond, we will build a more robust, more sustainable business environment in Kenya, one ready to face the future challenges with the resilience and responsibility. Thank you once again for your presence today. Together we can make a lasting impact on sustainability of our economy, our businesses, and our society. Let us move forward, united in our goal of embracing sustainability and creating a more transparent, equitable, and prosperous Kenya. May God bless ISPAC. May God bless Kenya. Thank you. Being a new standard, I needed to be detailed. So people may be wondering why this long discussion. But it is important to get to the bottom, especially in the new area. Normally my speeches are normally short and brief. but this is important. This is new, isn't it? Brand new. So thank you very much. May everybody clap for me. No, thank you. I just wanted us to have some ice breaking. I want to take it back to Julian's Amboko. And for disclosure purposes, Julian's comes from the same county like me.
Many thanks, Chairman. That was detailed and intense. In the interest of time, I would have given you a summary of the tiers in terms of the execution of this, but we shall reserve that for a later conversation. Just to mention that you have a QR code on your table. If you scan that code, you'll be able to see the booklet as well as the schedule, which the chairman has just rummaged through in terms of how the adoption of this standard will be executed. I'd also like to mention that we have online our keynote speaker, chief guest, and that is the Dr. Ndindi Noli, ISSB board member. They are with us virtually, so we shall be hearing from them in due course. But it's now my opportunity to welcome on stage the Accountant General CPA Jonah Walla. Let's appreciate him as he makes his way here.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Yeah, we are almost coming to an end of the speeches. There have been quite a number. But allow me first to introduce myself. My name is Walla, as Julian has said. I work for the Treasury. I was the chairman of the steering committee on climate-related disclosures, S2. And I'm glad to be able to make a few speeches, and then later on I'd invite committee members and also the secretariat that supported us in this journey. So all protocols observed, particularly my government colleagues who are here, FCPAs, CPAs, members of council, and also members of the institute. Habari ya asubuhi. So I'll be very brief. A lot has been said. Matthews mentioned a lot about ASB. The leadership came around May this year. They met the head of state, and we promised that we'll be on this journey as a country. We'll provide leadership. I think the leadership of ISPAC was there. The leadership of National Treasury, the PS, Dr. Chris Kipto was also there. The leadership of the Public Sector Accounting Standards Board. The leadership of the Nairobi Stock Exchange. I think I saw the vice chair somewhere. We were there, and we know the sentiments of the head of state, particularly on issues dealing with sustainability and reporting. As part of government, you will know that we are on this 8% forest cover. We want to increase it to 10%. That's our commitments. COP, I think, 28. That means we have to plant trees, almost 15 billion of them, by 2030. And so this S2 disclosures, for us in the public sector, we are quite excited with this. I also sit in the board of the International Public Sector Accounting Standards Board, as the chairman has said. We have our own standards. Georgina, when she'll be here, she'll be talking about that. But allow me just to make a few comments on the FRS S2 and the work that our committee has done so far. We are here to launch the roadmap of adoption of S2. The objective of S2 is to require an entity to disclose the information about its climate-related risks and opportunities that is useful for users of general purpose financial reports. S2 also requires an entity to disclose information about climate-related risks and opportunities that could reasonably be expected to affect the entity's cash flows, access to finance, or cost of capital over the short, medium, or long term. S2, therefore, when you're looking at it from the preparer's perspective, we require climate-related risks to which the entity is exposed. And these include both physical risks and transition risk. And I invite all of us, those who have not read the standard, please take time to look at that standard. S2 also requires entities and preparers to report on climate-related opportunities available to that entities. From the reader's perspective, S2 requires an entity to disclose information that enables users of general purpose financial reports to understand A, the governance processes, controls, and procedures the entity uses to monitor, manage, and oversee climate-related risks and opportunities. B, the entity's strategy for managing climate-related risks and opportunities. C, the processes that the entity uses to identify, assess, prioritize, and monitor climate-related risks and opportunities, including whether and how these processes are integrated into and inform the entity's overall risk management processes. So ISPAC has been quite unique, being a pace setter in this region. We take our standards role very seriously. Again, you'll find that in the Accountants Act, section 9.3, that enables us to do what we're doing at this time. So with that brief setup of the standards, the journey towards this started on 6th September 2023, when the Institute, the country standard setter and accountancy regulator, announced the intentions to adopt these sustainability standards in Kenya. ISPAC, as Kenya's standard setter, commenced collaboration with industry players, regulators, development partners, and other stakeholders to ensure preparedness for adoption of the new standards. Again, when I'll be introducing my committee members, you will see that multi-stakeholder engagement in this process. To facilitate this, ISPAC established a multi-stakeholder sustainability and climate-related disclosures committee to spearhead the successful adoption and implementation of the standards. The committee conducted literature reviews, benchmarked with other jurisdictions around the globe on best practices, and deployed a survey to various industry segments to gauge the readiness for adoption. At this point, I want to invite my committee members at 3. Zipporah Chege will come in first. Zipporah will talk a little bit on the baseline that we did. The baseline basically is where we are as a country, what is happening in this space. So Zipporah, just come, and then Rispa, you are next, and then Adeyemi concludes.
Thank you, Chairman. All protocols observed. Good morning. As part of carrying out our work as a steering committee, we did carry out a survey, a national survey, to give us an idea of where various organizations are at, whether public or private. And I'll take this time to just quickly take us through this report. I'd also want to confirm that this report is found on the ISPAC website, so please take time and go through it in detail. So I'll highlight the sector demographics that participated in this survey. We are also going to have a look at what the findings were. We're going to look at what the findings were, readiness for external assurance, and then what were the key takeaways. From a sector demographics perspective, we did have 95 participants. 73% of those were from the private sector, and 27 of those were from the public sector. In terms of commencement of the sustainability journey, okay, the question we asked here is, has your organization commenced the sustainability journey? 51.6% said yes, and about more than 40% said either no or they were actually thinking about it. Now, in terms of sustainability assurance, we did ask the question, if your organization issues sustainability-related information, are these subject to assurance audit? And we had, in overall, 35.8% saying yes, and then we had the balance saying no, or my organization does not actually issue sustainability-related information. Interestingly, for this particular score, the public sector had a higher affirmative response in terms of subjecting this to assurance stroke audit. Now, when we look at sustainability measurement, there are various questions that we asked, but one of the key ones was, do you have tools to measure sustainability metrics? From an overall perspective, only 14.7% said yes, and the balance said none. So to the regulators in the room, the institute, and all organizations are planning to support the execution of this. This is actually one of those areas that we can actually support various institutions in terms of what are the tools that we can actually bring on board to make the adoption and the execution easier. Now, moving to climate scenario analysis, the question we asked is, has your organization performed a climate-related scenario analysis? Only 23.2% said yes. The further questions to this included, have you done scope 1, scope 2, scope 3 gas emissions? And we've actually realized that there's a lot of work that needs to get into that conversation. The aspect of materiality has also come out as a key aspect that we actually need to support various organizations in adopting this. Okay. Preferred sustainability reporting format. So one of the questions we asked is, under which section in the integrated report would you prefer to disclose material sustainability information? 46.3% of the respondents said that they would want to have a separate identifiable statement. 29.5% said they would want to do this as a management commentary, and then 21.1% said notes to the financial statements. There was a 1% that said other. We might want to probably find out what the other would look like. Now, readiness for IFRS sustainability disclosure standards. The key question here was, when do you think you will be ready for adoption of this standard? Now, for 2024, 15.8% responded to that. 2025, 35.8%. 2026, 17.9%. And we had a 21.1% that actually said it's hard to tell. And so this is actually the basis of why we have chosen the date that we have chosen for adoption. Readiness for external assurance. The question we asked, if yes, if you're ready for external assurance, what period do you think your organization would be ready for this to be carried out on sustainability disclosures? We had 20% that said immediately, 1 to 2 years, 49%. So that's a total of about 70% that would actually be ready to do this between immediate and 2 years. And then 26% said 3 to 5 years. So in summary then, what were the key takeaways from this survey? 1, most organizations are at their formative stages of their sustainability journey. Only 15% have actually set up governance structures. 2, there's limited knowledge of what it takes to reach sustainability maturity, and therefore a lot of training will actually be required to support most organizations. 3, there's general willingness amongst organizations to adopt the IFRS sustainability disclosure standards. So the intent is there. And what we need to work on is to actually enable these organizations to do that. Number 4, the most mentioned barriers to sustainability maturity include limited resources, lack of information, tone at the top. Governance is very key on this journey, and technical capacity. 5, many organizations express readiness for external assurance, but may be limited by their formative structures in their sustainability journey. And 6, the private sector organizations are more inclined to adopt sustainability reporting than the public institutions. On this aspect, we might want to take that with a little bit of salt, because we did have a look at the participation metric, where we actually had 73% of the participants actually coming from the private sector. So that's the summary of the survey, and the detailed report is on the ISBAC website. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Rispa will talk to us about public interest entities.
Good morning. So mine will be very brief. It's really just in terms of context for how we've defined the rollout for the framework. One of the things we've defined is that public interest entities will be subject to almost, if you like, a higher standard. So in your booklets on page 3, we've defined what a public interest entity is. If you turn to that, and it covers publicly traded entities, so listed like, or broader than listed. So if you have equity or even debt on the market, then you'll be covered by that. So companies like EABL, BAT, Safaricom will fall under that. Entities whose main function is to take deposits from the public, so that's banks, and increasingly some of the digital companies. And then an entity whose main function is to provide insurance to the public, so insurance companies as well. The final category, which is a bit broad, and I think will be subject to further interpretation, is where you're defined as such by the law, regulation, or professional standards, and that reflects significant public interest in the financial condition of the entity due to the potential impact of their financial well-being on stakeholders. And I think there's been a lot of debate around this, because if Safaricom falls here, what about Airtel? Does it have the same impact on the public, and therefore should it be called to the same standard? And I think some of those will have to be defined clearly, especially by our regulators, to define who falls in this category of those who are required to adopt sooner than the other entities. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rispa. Akinyemi will talk to us about assurances processes and sustainability reporting.
Thank you, Chair. All protocols observed. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. So very briefly, I will just reiterate the assurance adoption roadmap, very closely linked to the adoption of the standard itself. But before we get to that, 3 things I want to leave us with. The first one is on the analogy when it comes to assurance. And that analogy is an analogy very similar to what we already do for financial reporting. So we expect that the benefits that flow through when we think about the goal of assurance from a financial reporting perspective are equally similar to the benefits that will be derived from a sustainability reporting perspective. So when you think about things around confidence, clarity, realistic targeting, avoiding greenwashing, that analogy in terms of the benefits of assurance compared to what happens in the financial reporting space, as well as the sustainability reporting space, is very clear, and we expect practitioners to take note of that as well. The second element has to do with what was also debated and discussed by the committee around combined assurance. So while we are thinking about the roadmap for independent external assurance, it's important to think about building capacity within our in-house assurance teams as well, because that's where it actually starts. And then finally, from an assurance perspective, is preparation. So you are thinking about that in the context of people, systems, and technology, and everything that goes with that as well. Very quickly, I'll just reel out what we have in the adoption roadmap from an assurance standpoint. On a voluntary adoption of the standard from 1 January 2024, there will be an expectation to begin with a limited assurance from 1 January 2025 and reasonable assurance from 1 January 2026. In terms of the mandatory adoption of the standard, the requirement is broken or categorized across 3 different types of organizations, as RISPA has just referenced. The first one being PIEs, with an adoption of 1 January 2027 mandatorily, with limited assurance from 1 January 2028 and reasonable assurance from 1 January 2029. Also for non-PIEs large enterprises who have an adoption of the standard from 1 January 2028, the expectation is to have limited assurance from 1 January 2029 and reasonable assurance from 1 January 2030. And then finally, for non-PIEs SMEs who are planned to be adopting mandatory from 1 January 2029, the expectation is to have limited assurance from 1 January 2030 and reasonable assurance from 1 January 2031. As I wrap up, I just want to extend my thanks to the leadership, our chair on the committee and the committee members, and also thank the Institute and its leadership for following through on the commitment to adopt the standard. Thank you very much.
Yes, as we conclude our roadmap, ladies and gentlemen, allow me just to briefly go through the implementation roadmap. It has been mentioned by the chairman and also my colleagues, but just the salient areas on it. We are doing a phased approach adoption with a voluntary phase from 1st of January 2024 to 1st of January 2027 would be voluntary phase. This encourages organizations to begin adopting the standards. It's not mandatory at that stage. So the standard kicks in officially on the 1st of January 2027, where our mandatory phases start, and we expect a gradual inclusion of public interest entities, large enterprises, small and medium enterprises, and later government organizations. There's going to be a lot of capacity building. If you look at our roadmap, ISPAC will be leading that process. We call on organizations to invest in training, data collection systems, and sustainability reporting expertise to align with the standards. My colleagues have mentioned Scope 1, Scope 2, Scope 3. I think those most of those will bring challenges in the way we measure those, we identify, in the way we recognize, and the way that we measure some of those risks and opportunities. Just to be a little bit specific on implementations, on the implementation roadmap, the location of disclosures, we are proposing that that sustainability disclosures will be integrated with existing financial reporting, either in the same location as regulatory disclosures or presented under management discussions and analysis sections, or presented as a standalone sustainability reports adequately cross-referenced to the annual reports. So in the roadmap, that is what we are proposing on the location of the information for both users and preparers, and also those who provide assurances. Transition reliefs and measures. Again, recognizing the challenges associated with transitioning, IFRS sustainability disclosure standards provide a set of transition reliefs during which initial adoption designed to support organization in building the necessary infrastructure, processes, and expertise in full compliance such as climate first reporting and exemptions from reporting on scope 3 emissions in the first year of applying FRS 2. So we're just following the standard the way it is. Scope 3 will come, is exempted from the first year because, again, as I said, the difficulties in measurement and also some expertise is required for scope 3. And relief from providing comparative data for the period before the initial application. That means as you start reporting on sustainability for the first time, of course, the standard does not require comparative data because, one, we will not have it. But once we reach 2027, comparative data will be required. The outline of ISPAC's role in enforcing adherence through collaboration with regulatory bodies, I think we'll continue collaborating with the regulatory bodies. CBK. CBK has already issued some form of guidance for the banks. CMA, they're here. Retirement Benefit Authority, IRA, and those regulatory institutions will be working in close collaborations, even as we improve on this roadmap. Of course, is the importance of assurance in verifying the accuracy and credibility of sustainability reports. Again, as I said, there's a lot of subjectivity that management will be exposed to, coming up with measurements for these risks and opportunities, which we anticipate. There are challenges, but we think that we should start somewhere, and then as the years go, we get better and better onto this. So allow me to conclude by introducing my committee members. Maybe you can come here for a group photo, as my colleague has done, and then those who are here, just quickly, so that we get through this part. And I'll allow you maybe a minute to say your name, so that including a secretariat, the CEO. The CEO is my good member. I don't know why. Karibu.
Okay. Zipi Chege, I work for ICA Lion. I'm the CFO for the general business.
Rispa Ohaga, I work for EABL as the CFO.
Caroline Makola, I'm the Director of Finance at Central Bank of Kenya.
CPA Catherine Asemeit, I work for ISPAC as the Director of Standards.
Patrick Nganga, Principal Consultant, Libra Sustainability Consultants.
Teta Skill, Chief Officer, Regulatory Affairs, NSC.
Good morning. My name is Edward Kerich, a partner at PwC. I lead our consulting and risk services.
Yemi from Deloitte. Maurice Kashoy, I'm a partner at KPMG, and I head the ESG and assurance services there.
Good morning, Masimaina, ESG Manager at PKF.
Good morning. My name is Gurmeet Santok, Managing Director, PKF Consulting.
Good morning. My name is Manasseh Biwat, Partner, UI.
Good morning, everyone. My name is CPA Moenga Elvis. I support the Directorate at ISPAC.
And finally, good morning, CPA Dr. Grace Kamau, CEO ISPAC.
Thank you very much. This has been the steering committee. Who is missing? We are all full house. Maybe one or two are missing. We are 21. Tamara, I'm told, is in the COP 2029. Who else? Karen from Safaricom, of course. So we're missing 2 members. To begin a coffee. I'll ask the chairman and the vice chair to come so that we can take a photo with the steering committee just before we ask them to. We need to take a photo. And maybe FCPA Rose Boura, please come. Rose has been, yes.
Camera crew, would you like them to remain there because of this lectern here? We're okay. All right, cool. Thanks. right, let's look at the cameraman. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Let's appreciate them as they make their way back to their seats. Asanteni sana for that very detailed breakdown of how the adoption roadmap looks like. CPA John Awala, your session should have been a symposium, but I guess you can organize that later. Asanteni sana. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to transition us into the next session, and we shall be hearing from our chief guest who's joining us virtually. I want to be sure that we are ready with Dr. Ndidi Noli, ISSB board member. Are we all right to go? Dr. Ndidi, can you hear me?
I can.
Wonderful, sounds good. Please take it away.
Okay. I can hear myself echo.
Looks like
Is that just me?
Tech team, are we good to go? Dr. Ndidi, we can see you, we can hear you.
Wonderful. Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here with you. I'm going to mute myself because I can hear myself echoing. And I want to start with this morning's congratulatory addition to all that I've already heard. I'm so impressed. I'm so inspired. I recall very clearly we were with you in March and with Chairman Kakai and Dr. Kamau, Catherine and my chair and colleagues. We visited alongside Q&A and the Nairobi Stock Exchange. We visited President Ruto, had a very hearty roundtable discussion, and we talked about this journey and the potential impact on Kenya. We talked about this as a business opportunity. We talked about this having the potential to unlock capital flows for the country. And we talked about the plans to launch the roadmap. And here we are today. The roadmap is launched. The room is full. Everyone is engaged. And I can see from the steering committee, congratulations steering committee, and the survey that was done, the diligence and the way which you have carried along the entire country in engaging and designing the timing of for investors, perhaps to address the big challenge that we have in terms of the very high perception of risk of our economies and of our companies, so that with a better assessment of the opportunities and a better management of the risks that are attached to climate change, we're better able to unlock capital and better able, through embedding sustainability in the heart of Kenya's financial and business systems, ensure that we're more resilient and prepared for tomorrow. It was a great pleasure to engage with our chairman, Emmanuel Faber, in March when we met with the chairman and CEO of ISPAC, the leaders of CMA and the Nairobi Stock Exchange, or Securities Exchange rather. And a lot of you in the room who I recognized as I was listening to the names and listening to the presentations, I'd feel very much at home, actually. And I was inspired, and I will just say this as a commitment to the room, that when we have the first 10 voluntary adopters publish their ISSB anchored financial statements. So that is financial statements where sustainability related disclosures are part and parcel of the general purpose financial statements and released at the same time. Then I am going to climb up Kilimanjaro and I will put a flag up there to celebrate you, because I've been meaning to do that for a while, but I haven't yet done it. So now I will take every single company's name, write it on that little flag, and I will personally, as the ISSB Africa chair, be going up that mountain to put up that flag. I'm super, super proud. Over the past decade, we've actually witnessed, you have witnessed, and now you're part of creating that global shift in the business landscape. One that recognizes that we need to look at this in the short term, medium term, and long term. So in other words, our financial statements are no longer just going to be historical documents. They're now going to be forward looking, because sustainability disclosures are no longer an option. They're now a necessity because they do constitute significant risks, but also constitute huge opportunities, especially for our continent, our people. And in our continent, and in Kenya in particular, the interconnection between business, the economy, nature, and people and society have always been, right from our ancestry, they've always been intertwined. And this is actually an opportunity for us to write that story. And I want to say specifically also that it's so important that beyond this roadmap and beyond looking at the ISSB standards as is, that we continue to engage on shaping future standards. So I'm sorry to bring you the bad news that your work doesn't end with looking at these standards on climate and the overall standard called Ifrs S1, but also that as we research future standards, so right now we're working on human capital, we're working on biodiversity ecosystems and ecosystem services, or in a broader word called nature, we need your input. We need your critical feedback so that these standards are written to serve you, to serve Africa, to serve as a truly global baseline. What's very, very important as well is that we've also already entered into the area where we're talking about assurance. And I heard the presentation on assurance earlier today. And again, I was impressed at how deeply you've already begun to think about this. And of course, the IASB's 5,000 standard was launched just 2 days ago. And so that also will inform decision-making. And the assurance of sustainability-related disclosures ensures that there is better information that can drive investment decision-making and unlock the vital capital flows that our economies need. And these are capital flows actually to help inform and invest in transitions into more resilient and future-ready institutions and industries. I truly believe that Kenya will play an absolutely critical role, not just for your own country, but for the entire East African region. I'm counting actually on Kenya playing that role. Kenya has long been a beacon of innovation. The stories of M-Pesa travel around the world as a best practice example. And I know that there's so much more that we need to carry from you in that regard, in terms of building something that is truly inclusive, that looks at value chains and supply chains, and looks at smaller entities feeding into the work of larger entities, and also safeguards Kenya's role as a key player in the global supply chain of other regions like Europe. So this roadmap is not just a call to action, it's actually an opportunity to grow and improve the resilience of the economy and of the industries that feed that economy, and above all, uplifting the people, the good people of Kenya. As Africans, we do have a profound role to play in the global sustainability landscape, and this is one that we should not question and should not doubt. And just listening to you today, the level of depth that has gone into your own preparedness and the journey that has led us so far is an indicator of that. I believe that Europe, I believe that China, I believe that Latin America will be looking at you, at your work, at your best practice examples, at your reports as best practice examples globally. And I do also believe that if we get this right, that it will open the doors for unprecedented investment into the economy. And that really is my own personal theory of change. So let me close by saying that this initiative is only as strong as the commitment of the individuals, the organizations, and the institutions that rally around it. And while we are in an era where we're talking about we want to move away from the alphabet soup, I think what also gives me hope with what you are doing is that you've carried along various entities at the government level. I've heard the Central Bank of Kenya being mentioned. I know you're working very closely with CMA and also the Nairobi Securities Exchange. So ISPAC is really taking a leadership role in terms of ensuring there is alignment, because what is very important for preparers as well is that there is not undue cost and effort. We have to make a concerted effort because it's a lot of work. We're going to all go back to learning. I think the advantage that we have is that the ISSB standards are written very, very much with the IASB standards, which you're so familiar with, in mind. So the language is very familiar to you. So really just take this as a huge opportunity to learn, to embrace new learning, new ways of looking at business that is actually very intuitive to the way that we think as Africans, the way that we are as Kenyans, because we have never been divorced from nature. Nature has always nurtured our cultures, our communities, and the way that we think about business. And this is an opportunity to step back into our own strength, because we're embracing these standards not as a compliance measure, but we see them as a competitive advantage. And in doing so, we see this as an opportunity to unlock new capital flows and grow our businesses, innovate our businesses, and achieve new milestones. So I thank you again, everyone, for your commitment. I want to congratulate you, ISPAC especially, on this milestone, the steering committee and everybody who contributed towards this. And I look forward to seeing Kenya lead as a pioneer in sustainability, not just in East Africa, but actually the entire continent, and not just the continent, but globally. Thank you very much. I can't seem to hear you at all.
For the formal launch of the roadmap for the adoption of IFRS S1 and S2. I'd like to give some guidance about how we go about this. We shall have some activity at this corner, so I'd like all my videography camera crew to focus on this side. And we will have an unveil. And in that unveil, I will have 3 persons to kick it off. That is CPA Dr. Grace Kamau, CEO, CPA Philip Kakai, and CPA Jonah Wala, who will join me here for that unveil. And we will have a bit of confetti and some noise, so in case you hear anything by way of an explosion, please don't take off. You're quite safe. So, let me call my 3 esteemed guests to join me right here at the front. We will have a countdown, I believe, on screen, and that will be from 10 all the way to 1. Sorry, here, sir. Sorry, sir. Sorry. Just move a little inside there. So we shall have a countdown on screen, which will take us from 10 all the way to 1, and thereafter we shall have the unveil of the documents which we shall see right here, and that will mark the formal launch of the roadmap. And after that, I will guide on a few photos which we shall take here. So please, we shall abide by that guidance. My tech team, are we ready with our countdown? Are we ready? All right, let's go for it. Oh, we need audio.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Thank you very much. And that is the formal unveil of the roadmap for the adoption of IFRS sustainability standards, S1 and S2, and we have been given a very detailed breakdown of how that shall be done across various players in the space. So let's look this side at the camera, please, for a photo. Yes, please. So you can guide us there. You want them closer together? Perfect. Awesome. Let's do that fast. All right. Yes, yes. It looks like it's underway. Are we all right? Oh, you look at it? All right, all right. Fair enough, fair enough. Thank you for that. Are we all right? I'd like to call, oh, you want the doc? Okay, all right, let's bring them in. Let's have copies of the roadmap circulated so that now we look at the cameras while holding them forward facing so that at least they are captured well. So in the first one, yeah, just hold them that way. Just hold them facing the camera. Wonderful, wonderful. All right. Chairman, smile, please. Are we all right there? Now you can converse, you can compare notes on the same. All right. Are we good? Are we okay? Thank you. Don't leave yet. Council members. Council members, are we in the house? Please make your way here and let's just organize ourselves for that very quick photo opportunity. Let's ensure we have some good balance. We can arc ourselves. CPA Catherine has copies, so yes. That looks good. Ready? Yes. Yes, now you can compare notes on the same. We're okay? Thank you so much. So council members, you may resume your seats. Just one last one for my three eminent persons there. I'd like to call the management at ISPAC. Management, are we present in the house? After the management, we shall have the sustainability committee, and that will be it. Management, let's do it pretty fast. All right, there's one more joining us, then we have this done. Could we somebody borrow this just for a minute? Wonderful, wonderful. All right, a very quick shot. Oh, there's one more. Yeah. Thank you. All right. The camera here? Yes. Now the second shot where, yes, we know the drill now. All right, finally, the Sustainability Committee. So management, you may resume your seats. Sustainability Committee. Sustainability Committee. Oh, you're many. We'll see how it works. We'll see how it works. You can guide me on how to arrange them, right? Or they're saying they're many. Yeah, yeah. So how do you want it? Yeah, yeah. You can know it. A bit of arrangement here. Yemi should not have been on the staircase. He's already... All right, that's the last one. Let's take that shot. Books facing forward, yes. The booklets facing forward. All right. You can peruse. Are we okay? Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now we need all of you. Thank you so much. Photo moments. Professional Standards Committee. Sorry, I'm told we have that one last week ago. Professional Standards Committee. Forgive my oversight. Professional Standards Committee. Now this is the last one. Professional Standards Committee. All right, the first one. You can peruse through there. All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. As they take their seats, I'd like to recognize Ifrs Kenya, led by Mark Cook, CEO of Small Business Engagement. Thank you so much for being part of this journey as we walk through the roadmap of the adoption of IFRS S1 and S2 in the Kenyan market. I want to get into a very quick session of brief remarks on the role of different stakeholders facilitating the implementation of the new standards and ensuring transparency and uniformity in sustainability reporting. So I'll be calling them on stage and we make very quick remarks, then we get to the tail end of our program. First on stage is the Vice Chair of the Nairobi Securities Exchange, Mr. Paul Mwai. Let's appreciate him as he comes in.
Good morning. First of all, I've had the word brief emphasized a few times. So I will put away my 6-page speech that my communications team had prepared and perhaps just make a few remarks. First of all, let me just say how happy I am to be here today. It's good to see many of you that I have encountered in my various roles in my career here today. I think this is my first time in an ICE Park function. And I can see many of my former auditors here. So you'll forgive me if I feel a bit intimidated. And secondly, I'm also intimidated by the fact that I'm speaking after the chief guests, which I think is not usual in Kenya, but I'll try and perhaps just emphasize. So I'll just talk about three things. First of all is to re-emphasize the importance of sustainability. I know we all know and we've all seen where we are today, and I think it's been mentioned many times. I think what comes to mind for me is the quote by Mahatma Gandhi many years ago, that the way we treat our forests and our world is a reflection of how we treat ourselves. So it is important that so many years later, the world has finally, the way we treat so many years later, the world has finally looked at the mirror and seen that it doesn't like what it sees. And it's therefore important that, first of all, we emphasize the importance of ESG, but more importantly, that we do the reporting correctly. So it's gratifying to know that ISPAC has taken the lead in creating that harmonization. My second point is perhaps on what we've seen so far on sustainability reporting and where the opportunity lies. I think for me, the key challenge has been... Interesting question. Sorry.
Interesting points, Form Y.
Sorry, Siri, you need... My apologies for that. I think the key challenge has been that we've had different standards and the prolifications of different standards. And we've seen many listed companies who have come to the market releasing reports, and there's been some inconsistencies, not necessarily bad ones, but there have been inconsistencies, some emphasizing more on the E, some on the S, and some on the G. And therefore, it is very important to create that harmonization, and I think that's why we are here. And we just want to congratulate ISPAC for taking the lead in creating that harmonization. So the harmonization will create for us, I think, first of all, reduced costs in terms of compliance, which I think is very important, because once you have it all in one, it then makes it much simpler. Secondly, it will enable the government to achieve its sustainable development goals. So from a government perspective, it's also very important. But more importantly, from an NSE perspective, it enables us to attract capital from global investors who are looking for ESG compliant investments. So we really welcome that, whatever. And my final point is just to emphasize on what the NSE is doing so far on ESG. I think, first of all, the NSE has done a lot of capacity building for various stakeholders on ESG. We've also developed the NSE sustainable disclosure standards, which I think are available, and we have interacted with many listed companies to assist them to achieve those sustainability reports. And we will continue to do that as we go forward. As I conclude, I would just like to say that the existence of many reports presents both a challenge and an opportunity to harmonize and bring a standard that will enable everybody or more people to be compliant at a more cost-effective level. And I want to applaud ISPAC and FSD for taking that lead and to commit the support of the NSE. And I think we already have one of our team in the committees, and we will continue to support this initiative and to be part of this very noble initiative. Asanteni sana.
Thank you. Let's appreciate Form Y. And as he takes his seat, I'd like to welcome on stage CPA Caroline Makola, Finance Director, the Central Bank of Kenya. Let's appreciate her. She takes the stage.
Good morning, everyone. I'll make my remarks quite briefly and just primarily focus on what the CBK has done So the Central Bank of Kenya has been on this journey for some time. If you recall, in 2021, they issued guidelines in as far as climate-related risk was concerned. Of course, those guidelines were based on TCFD, and of course, with time, we've seen that there are additional guidelines that have come through, and ISSB is now primarily focusing on the issuance of those guidelines or adoption of the standards. So since then, in as far as the CBK is concerned, what we've seen is that we have been encouraging our regulators, that is the financial sectors, that's the banks, to adopt various disclosures that are required. As a bank, we, of course, joined the Network for Greening the Financial System. And of course, this gives us a lot of capacity building even as we roll out these particular standards. In addition to that, there's been a lot of capacity building and awareness, as well as playing our critical role in supporting the national agenda on climate. Most recently, the CBK issued the draft Kenya Green Finance Taxonomy for public consultation. So this has been going on for the last couple of months, and we have received a lot of feedback, and it's one of the things that is assisting towards adoption of these standards. So the Kenya Green Finance Taxonomy, ideally what it's supposed to do is help financial sector institutions to distinguish between green or environmentally sustainable activities from those that are not. So this is currently ongoing, and as the CBK, we have started a pilot phase with a few banks in terms of issuance of this. What you'll notice is that this particular taxonomy, a lot of it primarily focuses on climate risk, which is under S2. So of course we are very excited as a CBK that ISPAC has actually set out the roadmap in terms of adoption of IFRS S1 and S2, because S1 and S2 covers the broad spectrum of ESG. And in conclusion, of course, we are happy because what we've seen is that the harmonization and combined efforts of all regulators, bodies, and all stakeholders that are involved has brought this journey to sort of fruition. It's gonna be a long journey because climate risk, climate financing, sustainability is critical for future generations. So if you think about it, what we are looking at is net zero emissions by 2050. For us to achieve that as a country, as an organization, as the globe, it means that even these sustainability reporting standards that we have, that have been rolled out, have to be taken quite seriously. So it's not even just about profits, it's not about the people, but it's also about the future generations that we are looking at. So it's very exciting. Congratulations once again, ISPAC, for setting the stage and the roadmap, and of course we look forward to continue collaborating with you. And thank you all for making time. Thank you.
Asante sana, CPA. Looks like my handheld went off. Next on stage, CPA Rispa Genga from EABL. Let's appreciate her.
Good morning once again. I was just saying I feel like I've been up so many times today. But right now I'll be talking about these standards and the manufacturing sector. And I think by way of context, it's important to just highlight that at the moment, the manufacturing sector employs nearly 500,000 people and contributes 7.6% to the country's GDP. The plan is to increase GDP contribution to 15% by 2027 and 20% by 2030. And that's important for the development of our nation. But why sustainability? For us, our activities are very impactful on the environment, whether it's water usage, energy usage, packaging, sustainable agriculture for our raw materials, or diversity and inclusion in a sector that is hugely male-dominated historically. So this is important for us, and as EABL, we've already been doing a standalone sustainability report for the last 3 years using TCFD, and this is very welcome in terms of bringing standardization, consistency across the industry. In terms of what we've done today, this for me is very important, not just from a consistency perspective. Our sector ranges from very large players to very small players, so this work that we've done really caters to all of them to make sure that we consider where they are in their journey of implementing sustainability reporting, and also we ensure that there is support for transitional arrangements or for funding where required. So this has been extremely fundamental for some of us who are big contributors to the environmental impacts. It also brings alignment between sectors and within sectors. We all, along with other sectors, go to the banks for funding. And I think it's important that they're able to see across different sectors how we're implementing sustainability reporting. Equally important is a clear path to implementation and support where needed. A lot of work has been done around that. And Zippy talked about the survey, and we ran that through CAM members as well to make sure that we got our responses across a broad-based network. Another thing that's important is readiness assessments. I've been known to complain about cost of compliance, but I think it's really important that we make sure we are ready as we get into 1st January 2027, that we have processes, procedures to ensure that our transparency and disclosure is evidenced. And finally, assurance processes, making sure that what we put out to the public is credible, it's transparent, it's consistent, and is user-friendly. So for us, this is just another step forward for sustainability. It's critical to our strategy. I tell people that EABL, it is core to the strategy, and it's taken us nearly 4 years to make sure everybody in the organization understands what sustainability is and understands what their role, what it means for their role. So it's not always about planting trees, it's a lot broader, and it's embedded in each and every one of our processes. And even though planting trees is important from a trees perspective, we also think about water use. Are we efficient in our use of water? Packaging, are we using materials that can be recycled? So I think it's going to be really, really critical for our sector, and grateful to have been part of this process. Looking forward to implementing this, and just thank you everybody on the steering committee and also on the Institute for your support. Thank you very much.
Asante sana, Rispa. Next on stage is CPA Zipporah Shege, CFO, ICA Line. And let's appreciate her once more as she comes on stage.
Good morning once again. I'm going to speak to a bit of this journey from the insurance industry perspective. And I'm going to start with the Nairobi Declaration on Sustainable Insurance. So this declaration was formally launched at the UNEP PSI's 4th Africa Summit, hosted by ICA Lion Group as a founding signatory in Nairobi in April 2021. And it has grown to over 140 members. The commitments that we are making, or the signatories to this declaration, includes how do we do risk management? Insurance, how do we ensure that we're actually executing sustainability as we insure our customers? Our investments, how are you investing them? And what's the role of ensuring that those are factoring in sustainability? And then ensuring that we are driving policy, regulatory, and industry engagement in fostering sustainability in our industry, and then certainly ensuring that sustainable insurance thinking and practices are part of how we run our business. Now, when we think about the adoption of S1 and S2, I think the most important thing is actually ensuring that this is also anchored at the governance level. It's not just a small little department in our organizations, but how do we ensure that right from the board, they're driving this, and it's key in terms of the agenda. When we look at the insurance industry and our value chain, upstream and downstream, the customers that we are insuring, to what extent are we actually also fostering them in terms of walking that sustainability journey? Most importantly, when you think about insurance and the extent to which customers in our country are actually able to adopt or uptake insurance. So what's our role as the insurance industry in ensuring that we are also offering coverage of risks to the less privileged? And one of those projects that we've actually had very successfully run and led by ZEPRI is what we call the DRIVE program, ensuring pastoralists in the northeastern part of this country. So there's actually a lot of funding available. And the question is, how do we come together and ensure that everyone gets a chance to be protected, whether you got the resources or you have little resources? So from a regulator perspective, how then do we ensure that we are building capacity? How do we ensure that we are training participants in the insurance industry to ensure that we actually walk this journey? So very, very excited. Thank you so much to my steering committee members. Thank you to ISPAC for a job very well done, and certainly our chairman, Asante Sana.
Thank you. And finally on stage we have CPA Georgina Mushai, CPA CEO, Public Sector Accounting Standards Board. Let's appreciate her as she comes.
All protocols observed, good morning. I will also speak on this sustainability issue from a public sector perspective. And firstly, I'll talk about what is happening at the global level, then I'll come to the local level. As had been alluded to by both the chairman, ISPAC, and the steering committee chairman, CPA John Nawala, the International Public Sector Accounting Standards Board has followed suit in developing sustainability reporting standards for the public sector. And the public sector is quite unique because it plays a dual role as a policy maker as well as a contributor to the sustainability space. And therefore, they have issued, actually yesterday evening, they launched the exposure draft on IPSAS SRS-1, IPSAS Sustainability Reporting Standard 1 on climate-related disclosures that is heavily mirrored on IFRS S2. And the only difference between the two standards, between IFRS S2 and the proposed standard, is the government role on policy, because I said it plays a dual role. So the comment period is open. It's ending on 25th of February next year. And what we are required to do is to give our comments. IPSAS-B is also running roundtable consultations and would be having one consultation in Uganda next year, late January. This standard, as I said, is mirrored very closely to IFRS S2. And maybe just to give an example, if you think about an organization like NEMA, it would be reporting on its policy making about sustainability and also its own contribution on sustainability. Then you'd ask yourself, why didn't IPSAS-B start with what would be mirror for IFRS S1? And the reason is because they do have recommended practice guidelines, and they do have one on long-term sustainability that also would deal with such matters. So as our chief guest said, of course, they are looking towards other sustainability elements, which will then come into play as we go along. And this standard is expected in either June or December 2025, and therefore that means even as we develop this roadmap, we are also looking into those sustainability issues related to public sector. Locally, we are the standard setters for the public sector on matters accounting and internal auditing standards. And therefore, it follows that when IPSAS-B releases this standard, because we have already adopted the IPSAS standards, then we should be able to develop such a roadmap in collaboration, of course, with ISPAC, and we are very happy, of course, congratulating ISPAC for this very great milestone. We also do have entities in public sector that report under IFRS, and of course, this will be some of the areas that will affect them. So currently, we do have some form of reporting. Of course, we have said it is not standardized, and as well, it is not even assured. I don't know the report. Maybe they didn't understand your question. But to be very honest, the public sector, what I gathered and what I gather because of working with them closely, is that even on this journey of sustainability, we are quite behind, and therefore a lot needs to be done. We also did a sustainability survey, and now I'm very happy to hear what the survey that was done by ISPAC has brought out, because one of the things that is making sustainability not to pick up is the issues of governance, thrown at the top. Most of these entities stated that they do not have policies on sustainability, and we all know what is not done is not reported, and what is not reported is not given attention. So that is an area that we will need to do quite a lot, both in the private and public sectors. But I'm very happy for this particular exercise. I am glad that we have been largely involved, and I'm also very happy, and I congratulate ISPAC. And as our chief guest has said, this is the beginning of the journey, and we believe that we are going to ensure that we achieve the milestones. Thank you so much.
Asante sana for those remarks. And friends, that takes us to the close of our session this morning. But to give us the closing remarks, I'd like to call the Vice Chair from ISPAC, CPA Professor Elizabeth Kalunda. Karibu sana.
Good morning, all. Good morning again. Yes, I think for me this is such a great day. Just looking at how this journey began and where we are. Because I remember when the issues of sustainability came up, we really were not sure of how we are going to make this happen. And I even remember when we were just talking about the committees, coming up with the committee members, and I can actually say that this has taken the hands of so many experts, so many people who are willing to understand matters, sustainability, and today we are here. So all protocols observed, I just want to say that as we conclude this insightful and a very interesting launch of our sustainability disclosure standards in Kenya, I will want to affirm as a part of the council that the critical importance of sustainability disclosures go beyond mere compliance exercise. And as the chief guest says, this is not just a matter of ticking the box of saying now we are disclosing, but we should actually note that these are very powerful tools that can drive positive change. They can enhance brand reputation for firms that are listed and those that are not, and also unlock long-term value. So as we leave this meeting, I just want to urge us all that by embracing sustainability, we are not only safeguarding our planet, but we are also securing a very prosperous future for generations to come. So let us all continue to strive for excellence. And I really want to applaud the different organizations I've had. The CBK had already their initiatives. We have EABL, who are every manufacturers. They had also done some things. So as we come to converge on this area, let us work together, but our main goal should actually be to have a universe that is better for the future. So as we wrap up, I really want to thank all who are here. We all came on time on Thursday. That was quite good, showing that our commitment to sustainability. I also want to thank the organizers of these events, and we heard that there were various committees that were concerned with this. Thank you for the good job that you have done. I also want to thank all of us who are here for actually just creating time to come and support this agenda. And I want to, as I wrap up, I want to give my key thanks to ISPAC, led by the council and also the secretariat that is led by the CEO, because actually it is through them that we've been able to just offer the secretarial services, manage everything, and have this launch. So as we call it a day, please, we can clap for ourselves. Heavier claps for the secretariat. And I want to wish you all a very, very, very lovely day, and let's continue embracing sustainability and all that is part of sustainability, even the smallest things from ourselves at our homes, not just at a farm level. So thank you, and all have a good day. Thank you.
Many thanks, Vice Chair, for the closing remarks and for the vote of thanks. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the close of our engagement this morning for the launch of the roadmap of the adoption of IFRS S1 and S2. This is how we close. 1, we shall have one stanza of the national anthem and one stanza of the East African anthem. So tech team, please be getting ready. Secondly, you're all encouraged to come here and take photos with this setup here. And for those of us who are on social media, please, let's give it visibility. How many of us are on TikTok, by the way? Paul Moy, I'm encouraged. I really am. Yes, so wherever you are, Instagram, Twitter, even LinkedIn is social media, by the way. So you can as well post it there. And as well, breakfast is still served, so please grab something, let's network and let's engage. So let's rise on our feet for the national anthem. National anthem, are we ready?
Na uhuru, raha tupate na ustawi. Mungu twaomba uilinde Jumuiya Afrika Mashariki, tuwezeshe kuishi kwa amani, tutimize na malengo yetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuwajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu.
Asanteni sana. Guests are free to leave at their leisure and pleasure. Thank you.